Where's the inspiration for this movie come from?
Well, the film's about the retail fashion industry and the kind of grotesque inequality in retail fashion. But the starting point was there's a very flamboyant character called Philip Green in England who has some of the biggest brands like Topshop. And there'd been a lot of publicity because one brand had gone bankrupt. And someone was telling me funny stories about Philip Green and the way he behaves. And I kind of thought, well, actually, a character like that, a fictional character like that, which is Rich McCready that Steve plays, he could be an entertaining way, an engaging way into looking at how the industry works, how the world works.
In a sense, it's extremely topical right now here in the United States with a couple of billionaires trying to unseat another billionaire. Can you comment on that, on how greed this permeates the globe because of the economic situation that we have?
Well, I think in the past, you know, the elephant in the room with all these political discussions is the gap between the rich and the poor, and we've been told for so long that the market is king and it shouldn't be interfered with. And for 40 years, there's been this experiment since free market economics was really championed in the early 80s with Thatcher and Reagan. But we've seen now that many people, a few people have benefited very much from that system, and many more millions have been deprived of even sort of basic, decent sort of wages and have been subjugated by that. And this film, I think, is a way of raising that as a topic, and it feels like there's an appetite for it now because especially what we're seeing with Bernie Sanders, like you say, in the US, and people starting to talk about things that they didn't talk about before.
Now you're playing a pretty odious character. How did you play him? What was your take on it?
Well, really, the film, although I play the main character, Rich McCready, he's just a sort of like a symbol of all these tycoons that have started to flourish over the last 20, 30 years. He is quite an odious character, and he's sort of symbolic of all those people. But he's also quite entertaining, he's quite witty, and we have to do that in the film to make people engage with him. If he was just obnoxious, people would disengage from watching the film pretty quickly. So for me, he's quite enjoyable to play because, of course, if someone's making you laugh, then you're inclined to stay with him and keep watching, even if he's behaving badly. So.
I mean, the story is really one of morality. I mean, everybody's morality is not quite there. I mean, can you comment on how the economics that we have, globalization, how it's making us all immoral?
Well, there's a character in the film who's the biographer of Rich McCready, played by David Mitchell, and he's kind of like a bit of a stand-in for us, or as the people making the film, or us as the audience watching it. And he's like compromised. He's in the payroll of McCready, and he sort of has his moral qualms, but he doesn't really do anything about it. And I think it would be easy to sort of try and blame, well, when you go into the shop on the high streets and you buy your clothes, you're sort of exploiting these women. But I don't think that kind of I don't think you can try and blame the consumer or blame the individual like that. The thing is, the whole world is in this system. It's very hard to step outside it. So I think the idea is to change the system collectively, to have political change. Just to sort of try and put the responsibility back on an individual consumer, and you be the moral consumer. I don't think that's ever going to change things really for the vast bulk of the kind of tens of millions of women. So what you need is actually political collective change to say, look, it would be quite easy to make the system better. There's loads and loads of regulations around in the world about how trade should happen. There's loads of regulations about how those factories are run. So why don't we just have regulations which push the wages up as well?
There's a moment when the Sri Lankan assistant of Sir Richard pushes a button. That is...
We don't want to talk too much about that button.
No, but I mean, how does she get there?
Well, this is a film that has, in a way, a bit of a farcical structure. This one door opens, another door closes. It's quite a mechanical structure because it has these separate, different worlds that we want to sort of juxtapose and contrast. Amanda is a character who's working on this party in Greece for Rich McCready. But she has a connection to the other world because her mum worked in a factory in Sri Lanka which made clothes for Rich McCready. So she's the kind of the bridge between these two worlds, and so she becomes a kind of fulcrum on which the kind of story finally hinges. There's a bit of a mixed metaphor, but anyway.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.